I prepared really intensely, and the whole point of surpassing those expectations is surpassing your own limits.
See me wiping him out clean. He's too small for me.
Has he really been tested? Like, all his fights been in Japan. Half of them were at 108. Fighting guys that stand right in front of him.
You ever hear monster?
The drama surrounding Naoya Inoue was never supposed to look like this. Not to the doubters. Not to the loud voices who laughed off the hype. Not to the fighters who dismissed him as too small, too short, too protected, too comfortable fighting at home in Japan. For years, those voices echoed through gyms, interviews, and comment sections, repeating the same lines with growing confidence. He hasn't really been tested. He fights guys who stand right in front of him. Everything goes his way. I'd wipe him out clean. Clean. They mispronounced his name. They mocked his size. They reduced one of the most precise fighters in boxing history to a caricature built for easy criticism. And for a while, especially in America, many people believed it. That's the thing about boxing hype. It travels faster than understanding. Fans hear the nickname Monster and expect something cartoonish, something exaggerated, something built for marketing. But Naoya Inoue was never a myth designed to sell pay-per-views. He was a craftsman, a technician, a problem solver with terrifying solutions. And on the night he truly announced himself to the wider world, he didn't just win a fight. He shattered an illusion that had been carefully built around him by people who never bothered to study the details. From the opening bell, it was obvious this wasn't going to follow the script his critics had written. Inoue didn't rush. He didn't swing wildly. He didn't try to prove anything with reckless aggression. Instead, he moved with purpose, each step measured, each feint deliberate. His punches snapped through the air with a sound that told a different story than his size suggested. This wasn't speed for the sake of flash. This was speed with intent. Every jab was a question. Every movement was data collection. He wasn't fighting yet. He was studying. The opponent, confident and vocal before the fight, tried to impose himself early. He stood his ground, willing to trade, believing that pressure and size would eventually expose the Japanese star. It was a mistake that would cost him everything. Inoue doesn't need chaos to thrive. He feeds on predictability. He waits for patterns. He lets opponents reveal themselves. And once they do, there is no escape. The combination came suddenly, almost cruel in its efficiency. A perfectly timed sequence, thrown with balance and precision, landed clean and heavy. The sound echoed through the arena, sharp and unmistakable. The body reacted before the mind could process what had happened. Legs gave out. The collapse was immediate. There was no dramatic count, no heroic attempt to rise. Just shock. The kind of silence that only comes when an entire crowd realizes they've witnessed something irreversible. Commentators froze mid-sentence. Fans stood with hands over their mouths. Social media erupted in disbelief within seconds. This wasn't just a knockout. This was a message delivered without words. America, and much of the boxing world with it, had just been forced to confront a reality they weren't prepared for. Naoya Inoue wasn't overrated. He wasn't protected. He wasn't a product of circumstance. He was operating on a level most fighters never reach. That night became a turning point. The jokes stopped. The dismissive questions vanished. Instead, a new conversation began to take shape. How do you stop someone like this? How do you fight a man who doesn't rely on size, but on timing so sharp it feels unfair? How do you prepare for someone who can end a fight the moment you make a single mistake? The answer, as many have learned, is that you often can't. Inoue's greatness has never been about raw power alone, though his knockouts suggest otherwise. It's about how his power arrives. It's about the way he breaks opponents down mentally before the damage ever becomes visible. He attacks the body not out of habit, but out of strategy, draining confidence as much as stamina. He closes distance intelligently, cutting off angles, forcing opponents into exchanges they don't want. And when the opening appears, even for a fraction of a second, he capitalizes with surgical accuracy. By the time discussions of legacy enter the picture, Inoue had already built a resume most fighters dream of. Undefeated, undisputed, a 4-division world champion. Names like Donaire, Fulton, and Topalez weren't just wins on a record. They were chapters in a story defined by dominance across styles and eras. Each fight reinforced the same truth. He adapts, he evolves, he punishes mistakes with frightening finality. That's what made the build-up to his next challenge so intriguing. Allan David Picasso didn't arrive with the same skepticism that surrounded previous opponents. Instead, he represented something different: youth, hunger, length. A fighter still climbing, still improving, still unburdened by the scars that come with long wars at the top. Taller, longer, sharp with his jab and comfortable throwing combinations, Picasso carried the confidence of a man who believes his moment is coming. There's a reason so many fans and analysts circled this matchup. Styles make fights, and this one promised tension. Inoue's precision and experience against Picasso's volume and reach. The monster of the present against a potential future of the super bantamweight division. It wasn't about whether Picasso had talent. It was about whether he could maintain discipline against a fighter who specializes in breaking it. Inoue's game plan has never been a mystery, but executing it against him is another matter entirely. He would look to the body early, testing Picasso's resolve. He would close the distance, refusing to let the fight settle comfortably at range. He would probe, pressure, and wait. Picasso, on the other hand, would need to establish his jab, manage distance, and resist the temptation to exchange recklessly. One lapse, one poorly timed combination, one moment of overconfidence. Against Inoue, that's often all it takes. This is why his opponents rarely look the same after facing him. Even when they last longer than expected, they leave changed, slower, more hesitant, more aware of the margins that separate good fighters from truly elite ones. Inoue doesn't just beat opponents. He exposes the limits of their game. What makes his rise even more compelling is the way it contrasts with the noise around him. While others talk, he works. While others boast, he trains. His own words before stepping into the ring reveal everything about his mindset. Surpassing expectations means surpassing your own limits. Fight like it's the last fight of your life. Enter the ring not to entertain yourself, but to give the fans something real, something unforgettable. That philosophy is visible in every performance. There is no complacency, no coasting, no assumption of victory. And when the moment arrives, when the lights are brightest and the pressure is highest, he doesn't shrink. He sharpens. The night he shocked the world wasn't an anomaly. It was a confirmation, a culmination of years spent refining skills in silence, while critics focused on the wrong details. Size doesn't define power. Noise doesn't define greatness. Precision, timing, and intelligence do. Inoue embodies that truth every time he steps between the ropes. That's why the question surrounding his fights is no longer whether he can win, but how long the opponent can survive before reality sets in. Will it be a quick, explosive finish, or a longer, more methodical breakdown? Will the challenger maintain composure, or will the pressure eventually force a mistake? Each fight becomes its own study in inevitability, and yet, boxing remains beautifully unpredictable. That's what keeps fans watching. That's why a fighter like Picasso matters. Because legacies aren't built in comfort. They're tested against hunger, ambition, and the belief that the future belongs to someone new. If Inoue continues to dominate, his place among the greatest of his generation becomes undeniable. If someone finally finds a way to disrupt his rhythm, it would send shockwaves through the sport. But until that moment arrives, Naoya Inoue stands as a reminder that true monsters aren't loud. They don't need to announce themselves. They let their work speak. They let their opponents collapse under the weight of precision and fear earned punch by punch. So now the question belongs to you. Do you think anyone at Super Bantamweight has the tools to truly threaten Naoya Inoue? Or are we witnessing the peak of a once-in-a-generation talent with no equal in sight? Drop your prediction in the comments. Let us know who you think should face him next. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of boxing's most terrifying forces, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned. Because here, every punch tells a story.